Hey, this is Mark.
And Herb.
And we are
the Tech Wranglers.
Today we have for you, as you see, a special unboxing video of the iPad Pro.
The iPad Pro, the giant, super huge, humongous screen of this new technology. You're going to love it.
So let's take a look at this. I actually left this in the box specifically for this video. I have not even turned this on yet. I don't know how I had that level of self-control. So there you go. You see, if you'll notice, the box itself is a lot bigger. And just to put that in comparison to
that's a mini.
That is an iPad mini. So there's a quick little comparison of the size difference here. We'll compare it to a couple others here in a sec. So taking it out of the box, has a nice matte plastic all around it.
Yeah, it's not the shiny, it's the matte one.
That covers it all. And if you take a look here, this is the charging dock, our cable. I think this cable may be actually a little longer than I'm used to. Don't quite know. And that should be the standard charging dock that comes with or the standard charge plug that comes with all iPads.
And when you say standard, the thing you have to remember is that the original iPhone or iPod was a 5-watt charger. The original iPad was a 10-watt. This is you can't read that. That's a 12-watt. So it's a little bit more powerful to be able to take the full charge out.
And if I remember correctly, they switched to a 12-watt power supply with the iPad Air 2.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
So let's go ahead. We're going to kind of push this out of the way now. We will go ahead and take this bad boy here. We're going to go ahead and take it out of the plastic, and then we will go ahead and turn it on. First off, before we turn it on, let's get the whole family in the picture here. So this here is the iPad Pro. Now, on top of that, I'm going to put the iPad Air 2. And on top of that, is this a Mini 1 or a Mini 2?
Mini 2.
A Mini 2. So, just to show you the different size, I throw my iPhone on there too, but we're actually using it to record this video, and I have a 6S, but this is an iPhone 5S as comparison to everything on there. So you can see it is a lot bigger. You have a lot more screen real estate here. So, I think Herb just ran off to go grab something.
I was looking for my ruler.
Oh. We'll go ahead here, and I'm going to go, we'll get these out of the way. So there you go. There you go. That's even better. Put that there. Put that there. That kind of gives you some perspective on the sizing of all this. It's a big boy. It's light, though. And let me show you. It's hard to see in the video here, but again, this is the iPad Air 2. This here is the iPad Air 2. The Pro has about the same thinness of the iPad Air Pro. It's a hair thicker. If you kind of run your finger over, you can feel that lip to where it sits just a tad higher. You kind of stand them up like this here. That's a great way to look at it. So the one in the front here, this is the Air 2. The one in the back is the Pro. Let's get over the hair more. There you go. So there you go. So it gives you a good idea of the size comparison. Weight-wise, doesn't really feel like it weighs that much more than the regular iPad Air 2. So we'll go ahead and fire this up here. We'll let it get to the opening screen. We shot this bad boy. We shot this video, if you will, on my iPhone 6S. This is a 4K video. And we are actually going to take this video and we're going to mesh it together with the video of the screenshots that we'll do here in a little bit. So we'll get back to here in just a few minutes, and hope you enjoy the video so far. All right, guys, we're back now. We've got the iPad Pro actually hooked up to our screen recorder here.
Which is the screen you're looking at.
It's really hard to appreciate the size of this unless you're actually staring at it. I know the first part of this video will kind of help with that since we kind of stacked all the little devices on top of it. But a couple of things we just want to point out from the main screen here is if you notice the spacing between the icons, there's a lot of what I would call wasted space.
Yeah, and there's been some complaints on some of the forums about this, that obviously you've got enough space there where you could easily have 5 rows and maybe 6 columns on there, easy. Actually, if you count it, each of those gutter spaces there, you could have 4 more columns of icons on there, and on the home row you could have twice as many. In fact, why isn't the home row just one where you have scrolling, just unlimited items down there?
Absolutely, right. And further that question, why when we're in? So right now, I actually have the iPad sitting in a horizontal landscape. So it's like horizontal. So why doesn't it do like the 6S does? And instead of having the row of icons down at the bottom here, which I know you can't see me moving anything, but down at the very bottom, why doesn't it turn it off to the side like it does on the 6S?
That was one of those features, and that's I think one of the key things that needs to be understood. iPad Pro, top of the line iPad, it's the best. It's whatever, but it's not the same thing as the top of the line iPhone. There are some features that are different.
Yeah. For example, yeah, everything you've heard about 3D Touch and those new commercials and things like that you see, you can like not do any of that on the iPad Pro.
Broke
They're not
my
there.
heart. My daughter came over with her iPhone 6S, and she's all happy about the peek that you can do with that. Can't do peek on if you try to do peek on the iPad Pro, you just get the wiggly icons and you can delete things. So but that's actually though understandable because as we're going to talk about next year, when you have the stylus, the pressure that you push with the stylus is going to make a difference on that. So the pencil is going to make a world of difference in the way that you can draw and color and do all kinds of stuff with that. And I think that's why you don't have that pressure sensitive thing like you do on the iPhone 6S.
And like Herb mentioned, we'll do a iPad users group meeting after the first of the year once everybody gets settled. It really gives us a chance to show off some of this equipment and other things that we've picked up relating to this. Yeah, I think a couple of interesting things to point out when you really just boil it down to the fundamental differences here between, say, an iPad Air 2, an iPhone 6S, and this. Really what you're getting here, obviously, is the bigger screen real estate.
It's humongous.
It's
really
huge.
is.
So you get bigger real estate. The speakers are surprisingly wonderful for
thunderous
for
theater
an
style.
iPad.
I love it, and my wife is so enamored by that. And it is kind of interesting because you can really hear two people can sit at the table, watch this iPad, and hear very well the subtleties when you're watching movies and that kind of stuff like that. It's an incredible, I think, just experience using this iPad.
But from a realistic standpoint, all you're really getting with this under the hood is a better processor. This uses the A9X processor. And you get a better keyboard. Well, that's up for debate. You get a different keyboard. So I'll do a little quick swipe down here. So you can see here the difference in the keyboard. Notice there's a top row of number keys.
Better.
You can't split the keyboard like you could do on the old iPad.
Better.
I don't know if you guys knew that, but you can take on a regular iPad the keyboard in this mode and kind of put your fingers and do a little spread apart and kind of get it set up like an Ergo keyboard.
Since iOS 4 or 5, you can do that.
That doesn't work on here at all. So, yeah, it's a little to get used to when you're typing because you're kind of used to the regular keyboard that you've had forever. The number row's nice. I find I use that a lot, especially if I'm trying to get to the symbols above the numbers. You can simply hold down the number and it will bring that option up, and then you just move your finger up and you see it highlights and it'll put it there. So, I mean, those are really the biggest differences.
But that to me is really major because that's one of the, first of all, remember, this is a larger screen, so you have a larger keyboard. It's almost like regular size keyboard. And so you're not having to do that other switching, screens of keyboards to get to most of the things that you're going to be using.
But you know what I've noticed? Because I am so used to how I've typed on
that.
previous iPads, I still have my same old habits.
You'll find yourself hitting that shift key.
Absolutely, I'm hitting that
key
shift key. So I'm trying to train myself to use this keyboard in the way, the way it's designed. So that's been. I don't want to say it's been a struggle. It's just, reflex memory is used to doing what it's always done on an iPad. So you change that up a little bit here. Yes. So just kind of want to point out, by the way, if you notice where I got messages, Safari, Firefox, I can't get any more icons down there. It only allows those. Check that. I can get one more down there.
You get 6,
and that's it.
So here it is flipped.
Yeah, here it is flipped. What kind of happened there, just so you guys know, is when I went to go flip it from horizontal to vertical, the recording software we used stopped.
It didn't like it.
It did not like that too well, but I did just want to kind of show you the flipped version of it here, of what it looks like in its vertical mode. Again, there's a lot of space between those rows. You could easily fit 1 or 2 more rows of icons in there with no problem. All right, so we're not going to flip that anymore.
No more flipping.
It still does blow up the video, but we'll
I'm a
cut
proponent of
we'll
flip
cut them all
video.
together.
Don't flip your iPads when you're recording on QuickTime.
All right, so we're going to just kind of take a couple of minutes to show you a couple things. We touched on some of this with our iOS 9 video earlier in the year, and this is going to be a slight rehash of that, but we want to show you some of the cooler features of that.
Because now it's on a Pro.
So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm actually going to launch FaceTime, and I'm going to FaceTime to myself and give this to Herb. And I'm going to step out here in just a moment.
I'm straightening right now because I got the giant Pro. No, actually, that's one of the cool things about the Pro. It's bigger, but it's lighter. It is so light. I sometimes worry that I'm going to break it or something like that because it is so light. And Mark is over there. And I think we're not hearing him because... Let's see, I'm not muted. See, is he muted? Nope, I'm not muted. I'm not hearing you. I don't know if it's because we're plugged into the recording and that we're not being able to hear. So I hear him through the door, but not through the actual FaceTime.
All right, since you don't hear anyways, we're going to keep it muted.
Okay.
But let's go ahead.
But you can hear over there.
Yep.
So you know, mute me or
yeah,
mute
let's mute both sides.
There.
All right. So what we'll do now, what we really wanted to show you here. So this is me looking at the iPad, which you see me on the other side of that there. Really want to show you here what happens. You can pop out of this while you're working, minimize. And if I go to slide over here, like oops, if I open Excel, I got Excel going here. I've got my little video going down on the corner here. If I do slide over again, I can actually play another video over here.
He's got a video playing, he's FaceTiming, and he's got a spreadsheet going. And, well, I was about to say he was going to split, and there you go. You can bring your spreadsheet stuff back over. You kind of scrolled over here.
So, there you go. So that's a multitude of different things that we have going on right now.
So for your ADD-ness that you've got to have all this stuff going on at one time, you can definitely do this. I don't know why you'd want to at this particular point, but you can. And that's one of the cool things about it.
It's really neat that you can actually, in essence, you're doing 3 different things all at once.
Yes.
You've got FaceTime going, you've got a video that we recorded going, things along those lines. So that being said also, that's just a little quick video that Herb and I made. Now, if we drop down here and I go to the actual video app, it won't work because of the way we're hooked up to the screen right now, but because we're hooked up to the recording software. But you could actually play this episode, for example, of Heroes that I have, and minimize it out, move it around the screen. I'd love to show it to you, but again, that doesn't quite work with the recording software.
With YouTube?
Huh?
With YouTube?
I don't know. We didn't try YouTube. We can no, because YouTube doesn't show up in slide over, remember?
Oh, it doesn't?
No. So the thing with slide over and opening these multiple applications is the app has to support it. If the app does not support that slide over function, it's not going to show up in the list. Initially, when Herb and I were messing around with this stuff on last week, we couldn't get Keynote and Pages and Numbers to show up in slide over, and I didn't realize there was an app update waiting to happen. Once the app update happened, then we were able to actually get those in the list. It's a pretty big list. It's a growing list. I'm sure more developers will add features over time. Working with this on such a bigger screen. So, for example, that's Excel I've got up. If I bring up, not my mail, where's Word? Where's Word? There's
the
Word.
very top.
So if I bring up Word, I mean, it's actually really nice working on 2 documents side by side like that.
So that you can go over here and you can select
easy
something.
For cut and paste.
And you can, I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come over here. I'm over here now. And I'm going to paste it. I got to see where the word paste is there. Look at that.
So it's really nice working side by side. It makes, in my mind, it makes a huge difference having this much screen real estate to work on. This is a nice feature on the iPad Air or the normal. Was this 9-inch? How big is a normal iPad? 9.7.
Yeah, 9 something. Yeah.
It's a huge difference doing multitasking and side by side on an iPad Pro. Versus the smaller 9.7-inch screen. This screen is almost 13 inches.
I can't wait
big.
to try it on my Mini 4.
The Mini 4? It doesn't work on the Mini 4.
That's what I was afraid of.
So, I mean, that's kind of like I said, without really rehashing some of the stuff we've already talked about with iOS 9. I mean, that kind of covers some of the biggest features. There's two things we do want to show you that haven't actually come in yet. We absolutely want to show off the Apple Pencil, which that's going to take a real video, and we want to show off the Apple Keyboard. Both of those items have been ordered. They just haven't been they haven't arrived yet. So. But we thought it'd be fun to at least get the video out there. Again, it's really hard to get the perspective of how big this thing is. I was telling her before we started recording this today that I've yet to really find an overly comfortable position to hold this in as I'm using it and things like that. So, yeah, that's how you made the suggestion of that little thing I put my hand in on the back of it.
Yeah, so there's a different I call carriers or handlers that you have with it. There's different ones where you can slide your hand into a pocket of the back of the holder or back of the case, or you could there's a squeeze thing that you can kind of squeeze and you can kind of hold it and have a little grip on there. I think that's going to make a difference with this particular one. I've even seen one that has kind of like a handle, a grip handle, so you kind of carry it kind of like a briefcase a little bit, and then you're ready to go with it. There's going to be a lot more cases coming out for them, a lot more other accessories to kind of go with it. And the point, as I said when we were in FaceTime a little bit ago, is even though it is bigger, and it is certainly that, it is extremely light. In fact, as I look at it, sometimes I worry that it's just going to bend, because it's so thin and so light, and then you can carry it around with you and just and it's great. You got a wonderful screen. You got
doesn't really feel like it weighs that much more than an iPad Air.
I don't think it does. I really don't think it does. When I've looked at the weight differences, I'm always cracking up because they're talking about grams, the difference in a number in grams, how much the weight difference is. Great. I think it's a great little device. It is once again a little bit pricey. You think about the first iPad came out, it was $500. And that was like a price point that was premium at that point. This one, the bottom line to get you in there, 32 gig is going to be $799. But if you really want to go big, you want to go with the 128 at.
Gosh, 128 it's $999 or $899.
So basically, you're $1,000 in there,
also,
and then you're going to want a keyboard, and you're going to want the pencil. Because why even bother if you don't get the best parts to go with it? Why would you?
Well, and we were over $1,000 with this purchase, just between this, the pencil, and the keyboard. Mm-hmm. Those three items, and like her pointed out, this is the entry level model at 32, and that's it. It's 32 and 128. There's no in betweens there.
No 64s. No. So that was kind of interesting. Obviously, you would never have a 16 gig with this. So that's a very interesting, I think push that they did. Is that they did at least give you two levels to access it. So for those who don't want to spend, so they want to save that $200, that's fine to get you started with it. And I do believe for educators, for people who want to teach with this is a great size tablet to carry around with you. It's one that you can sit down at a table with somebody and you can illustrate and show things right there on the screen if you wanted to. So it's big enough so that if you're in a room with somebody, you can kind of do that. Or we have it hooked to the projector or through Apple TV, whatever like that. When you're projecting up, you've got this great real estate to do the control things and do the annotation things like that with it.
I'm really hopeful. I'm very fortunate this year that I'm getting to go to the Consumer Electronics Show in January. As part of the Consumer Electronics Show, there is a one-day piece of that, if you will, that is aimed completely at using technology in education, and that's covering K through 20, I believe they're calling it. Mm-hmm. So I'm really anxious to see different ways, different ways and things that we haven't thought about on how this could be used in a classroom with an instructor in a collaborative environment, things like that. So I'm hoping to come back with some really good ideas from that of things that we might be able to do here in the future.
And some of the big things, if you look at the screen right now, you'll see that there's GarageBand on there. Editing and working GarageBand on this size screen is, I think, going to be awesome. There's also the iMovie on there. And so, once again, actually editing video on this size screen, I think it's going to be a real experience. Obviously, you could do some photo things. And you could get the Adobe Suite on there and do a lot more with it. So I think that's the other thing is that with the iPad Pro, you really have gone to the next level of a producer machine and not just a consumer machine.
I agree with that. We're actually going to try and edit this video too. I'm going to try and edit this video together on the iPad Pro. So we'll see how it goes. We'll when we post the video up on the YouTube channel, we'll post in the comments whether or not I was able to pull this off with iMovie or not. So that's kind of really all we got to talk about with this. Just like I said, I wanted to give you guys a chance to kind of see it. And we will schedule a iPad user group meeting for sometime late January, maybe February. Let's let the semester get started and kind of get past those first couple of weeks.
Because there's nothing like it when you guys get the hands on. I think it's going to be a world of difference for you, and then you'll definitely see that. So this was really just an unboxing, and we'll, like I said, as he learns more at CES, and as we go through some more things and learn, and we get the keyboard and the pencil, you're really going to see all the magic that is the iPad Pro.
As always, if you need to reach us, have any questions or comments, you can comment on the YouTube channel, or you can reach me at mpetrick@austincc.edu.
And that's HColeman, HColeman at austincc.edu.
All right, and that wraps up another edition of the Tech Wranglers, and we look forward to talking to you again soon.
See you next year.
Thanks.